human interaction of like, like you in your head, like, this is me in my head, like, oh, Brice, we got this knowledge is power. Oh, we about to kill it. We about to kill it. We gonna kill it. We gonna kill it. And then I'm just like sitting there like, I can't keep this to myself. Survivor News. 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 Dot, dot, dot. And we are back this week with your Survivor News. Listen, it's been a amazing last couple of days, but let's formally welcome back to the podcast the baby boy that is Zachary. No, did I say it wrong? Zachary.
There we go.
Zachary Atkins from season 2 of the Circle. Baby boy,
What is up?
What is poppin'?
What's poppin'? And no worries on this. You could call me Zachary, whatever.
You could
J's
call
and
him.
Z's
You
get
could call
mixed
him
up.
regular headphones.
Oh,
Well,
yes,
Mr.
let's-
Mr. Wireless.
Mr. Wireless today. Oh, because Jack is no longer out at the airport directing the airplanes, because last week Jack definitely had the air muff headphones on. Welcome to the Team Wireless, even though Wendy and I are not giving wireless. But before we continue, let's welcome back to the podcast the man, the myth, the legend, Wendy Holland. Was popping, baby boy.
What it is, Perp. It's good to be back. It's good to see you. It's good to see Jack with the regular headphones. He jumped over us in the headphone game, but it's cool. Who knows?
It is giving. Your baby boys are back, and we are here to break down episode 11 of Survivor season 42. If you are listening, you can also follow along on the YouTube. That is the Brice Izyah. Make sure you show your baby boy some love. Click the video, subscribe, write some reviews in the comments. We live for the comments. Okay, we don't never know where we're going to go, but listen, we live for them. Wendy, we are off again from another Brice and Wen Present Homecoming 42. Give the people that were not able to make it a recap of the night.
Oh my goodness.
Please.
What a great evening. These were some of our beautiful guests. Brice, the wonderful editor, Brice himself, has a photo of Izyah, myself, Russell, Brice, and Derek. What?
Nah, I just thought you said my name twice.
Brice and Derek. This was in front of the Winston, which is an awesome bar that we were at. And it was just a great time. It's always good coming back to Philly. We have a lot of our podcast listeners came out, and it's a lot of the faces that we've been seeing over the years. So just shout out to everybody that came out. It was so great. I give these hugs out that I'm just like, man, I was giving this same hug to this same person during my Ghost Island run or during my Winners at War run or that short-lived run. But Brice's Cagayan run was even shorter than that. So
the
What
shots.
about my run?
Jack,
No, I'm glad.
Jack Survivor, what Battle of the Bush run? Okay.
Circle run.
Circle
run, Chicago Survivor, University Chicago
But
Survivor
also,
run.
DJ Nico killed it.
Yes.
He had the tunes. Brice got up there. It wasn't even a karaoke party, but this fool Brice had to invoke the spirit of Lil' Kim.
Listen, I listen, when she comes through. And listen, when DZ was hating, when DZ tried to take the mic away from me. But listen, DJ Nico said, Ricka, boom, I've been gone. And listen, the crowd erupted. Okay, it was very crazy. There were so many amazing people. Shout out to my family. My family pulled up this week and was in there showing love. Just so many amazing faces, so many people that we've seen in DC, so many people that we've seen in Chicago, so many people that we've seen in New York, all coming together to make the Brice and Wen Homecoming such a huge success. And it just to piggyback on Wendell, just like, I remember when I was throwing watch parties, just for the heck of it. And the fact that these people are still around, still supporting Russell Swan, Izyah, Derek, and to the people that were there, the other
Mhm.
amazing faces that pulled up and just showed out. It was such an epic time. I mean, we didn't want to end the
Right.
party at all.
And when I thought about, I was trying to think of like an overall vibe of our parties. And I've said it before, our parties look like the makeup of the cast. But I'd almost say that it extends past that. I think our parties are like a true safe space. That's what I think they are. Like you can come whoever you are as you are. You can come solo, like
Yeah.
whoever, whenever you come, you just end up having a good time. I met at least 5 people in there that came solo, but they were sitting in groups of people. Like I came by myself, but these are my friends now. So
Right.
shout out to everybody.
Yeah.
It was just a great time.
Yes, yes, yes. It was such a great time. And again, like we said, come alone, but you leave with friends at the Brice and Wen Present. And, listen, if Philly was such a success, I just feel like Wendeezy, why not keep it going? It's only 2 more episodes left of this amazing season. And when I say amazing, I am saying amazing. Because it is so epic. And so listen, why don't we, how we finishing this off, Wendeezy?
Oh, we're going to finish this one off with Brice and Wen Present the finale featuring the wonderful Miss Lauren Ashley Beck in Los Angeles at Busby's West
Oh.
on May 25th. It's going to be an incredible evening. We sold a lot of VIP tickets already. I think we're only releasing 100 of those. Tickets are selling out. We have a long list of confirmed guests already. I want to say like at least 30 guests from within the reality community. I think we're going to end off with maybe closer to 60 or 70. So that's going to be a time you don't want to miss.
Yeah, it is.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. I'm excited to head back to Cali, head back to the beautiful sunny state and see what it's giving for Brice and Wen Present. And if you are trying to come along, the tickets are available. You click the link in Wendell's bio, you click the link in my bio, or head over to the Brice and Wen Present Instagram page and click follow and get your life. Because listen, we out here because we get the party started when I walk through Turnet. Every time that I come through,
bottles on deck.
Because you come through, it's gonna be lit. Because I'm bringing out the whole crew. Listen, do yourself a favor. Go if you got the Spotify, if you got the YouTube, if you got the Apple Music. Listen, just go over there and Google Brice Izyah. Got a nice little catalog for you. But enough of all of this that's going on. Let's get into last night's episode. Because listen, while we was there watching it live, you would have thought you were watching a playoff game. The way that people were, ooh, and that's just not even me walking through just screaming.
Yeah, it was great. I had to, okay, I'm going to just go ahead and apologize in advance. My note taking wasn't the best.
Oh my God, yes, actually,
thank
you.
Usually it's top notch, but I still think I did a good job. I still was able to catch a couple commercial breaks. So we still got some commercial notes in there. Brice, fix your face. But let's go ahead and get started. We are back at camp after the High vote out. Got rid of a big dog. High's out of there. And we have a Romeo confessional where he says that the big dogs are going to start gunning for each other. And that's good for him. I think there was because High is out now. Also, we have the Drea and Lindsay amulets now turn into a stealer vote. So that's a little encouraging for the two of them. What else happened when we were back at camp? Anything notable?
I thought what was really important with Romeo when we came back and we got that confessional from him, he essentially was saying, this is playing out exactly how I wanted to play out. And like, they're cannibalizing on themselves. And I just want to be here and the people at the bottom. And so I just wanted to just open the question up to you, fine gentlemen. I believe last week we were talking about what the final four, what the final three, final five will look like. And we said that Romeo could possibly be a GOAT. my question is, and with Romeo says that this is his plan all along. Do you think the possibility that is there maybe a Romeo edit that we are not seeing? Or why are
Jack's
you
face
making
said it
that
all.
face?
Okay.
Or is Romeo is he just feeling the like I don't know, break that face down for me, Jack.
Yeah, I just think, I don't think Romeo is necessarily a bad player. Like we saw, he had a lot of good social and strategic abilities in the pre-merge. I just think it was sort of a situation where he got off on the wrong foot with this merge tribe, and it sort of, but whether it's true or whether it's just perception, it sort of painted him as a goat. Now is he the worst player out there? I don't know, but especially when we get that scene where, Mike had that great quote, like, Romeo, wherefore out that Romeo at the fire picking at the rice like he's been doing for 20 days. That's where Romeo art now. I thought that was amazing. And just that whole scene of them just kind of roasting Romeo, and Survivor came with the receipts of him just sitting there hunched over. This is his move. If that's people's perception of you, even if you're a solid social and strategic player, you're just not going to win. And I do think he's right in the acknowledgement that a lot of times the bottom feeders of the game will kind of get together and kind of take it to the end. But in that sense, you have to be aware of where you sit amongst the people at the bottom of the game and be able to beat them. And right now, I just don't really think Romeo can beat anybody.
I agree with you, Jack. Definitely agree.
Is it too late in the game though for Romeo to pick up some Pokemon points?
What Pokemon points?
So like are there things that he can do to allow him to have a real shot at the end?
Yes. Or like when we think about the Erica edit, and I feel like this is the point when we saw Erica kind of sort of explode. However, she had laid the groundwork that we were maybe not seeing. So I guess my question is it still possible for Romeo to have a shot, or is it just?
Or to add to that, is there a possibility that the people that he sits with are people that either won't be respected enough by the jury, or the jury might have vendettas against? So then it's like, all right, maybe he is the only viable option.
Here, I'm glad you brought up the Erica edit, Brice, because throughout the episode last night and up until today, I've been thinking a lot about, now that we're down during this episode, we're at final 7. By the end of it, we're getting down to the final 6. I've been thinking a lot about who I think is going to win the game. And not to get too deep into it, but I do like what you said about let's get into it. I like what you said about the Erica edit, but I don't think it applies to Romeo. I think it applies to Lindsay, where she's been shown as sort of very under-edited, quiet strategist who seems to have a decent social and strategic awareness. And now we're getting towards the tail end of the game where she's really emerging out into the forefront as a really solid strategist. She's working hand in hand with Omar, making this big move that we see at the end of the episode. She's showing really good social awareness in the way that she deals with Jonathan. And I also just think that the way the targets are lining up, you have some very obvious targets emerging, like an Omar and a Jonathan. So I could really see a situation in which Lindsay sits with, a Romeo or a Marianne, who I also think has a chance to win. But if they get out Omar and Jonathan and maybe a Mike, that leaves Romeo, Marianne, and Lindsay. And I think Lindsay has really been emerging as a really good contender. And just to close out the point, Jeff has talked so much about, we're trying to mirror season 41. It would be very meta of them to mirror season 41 in the sense of the winners edit too, by kind of a,
I 1,000% agree with you on that. I love Lindsay. However, sorry, Wendeezy, if I'm going deep, pause. But
whoa, hey, hold now.
hey, yo.
Oh, I'm out of here.
Sorry. I don't know why. And this is not the podcast word, but I just learned, Jack, when people are talking with their bros and then they'll say something and they say pause. So yeah. I always thought that it meant one thing, but I would say probably over the last month, with Wendeezy, and shout out to baby boy Joey Hatch, I've actually like figured it out. So I always knew what it meant, but I y'all know sometimes I'd be a little slow. I never figured out the actual like the equation or how it actually fits. However, I've learned it, and I think that
What did you think it was at the start?
like I don't know if this is the podcast for it, but if y'all listening and y'all get the references, like I always knew what it meant, but I just never knew like how to actually use it or how to execute the use. But I've figured out how to appropriately execute it. And now, like when I hear people saying it, or sometimes like Joey and Wendeezy will like say it purposely because like they now know, and I just think that it is
Perp
it's
finds
so
innuendo
funny.
in anything now, so then he's pausing everything.
I know, but
Someone-
it's just so because I think that like first of all, I think the point of the pause is like dumb, but I think the point of the pause actually makes it more of the point. So anyway, okay, but I just use
People are
that
about to start saying pause, and Brice is gonna come and like resume.
Unpause.
I just find it so funny because I just never knew. Like I knew, but I didn't know. But anyway, sorry. So hold on.
Okay.
Let's get back deep chat.
Pause.
Whoa.
Hey, yo.
Okay.
Ooh, hey,
Anyway,
yo.
when oh god, that's taking me out.
It's kind of sus, Brice.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
it's the same thing. Anyway, okay. So on that in that same vein.
Whoa. Hey.
Hold on.
Oh no, wait. I'm
Is
getting
there something
high.
you gotta tell us, Brice?
Sorry. Oh no, wait. I'm getting really high. Hold on. Oh, that cracks me up. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting off track. But in that same vein of what you were saying, Jack, when of the Erica edit, when Marianne was talking to Romeo and she said us, the bottom people.
Oh.
Hey, yo.
Ah!
Brice, could you no,
That's
I'm
just
not.
right.
Where art
Writing
thou,
yourself.
Romeo?
Bryce like about the bottom people.
Sorry.
You were
With
saying
the people that are at the
That's
bottom
where
of
Romeo
the-
art thou.
the alliance, and Marianne just said she's in such a good place where the other people have a target. How you had that epiphany of Lindsay, I had the epiphany of Marianne, and I was like, oh my god, we've seen so much of Marianne, and yet in these last couple of episodes it seems as though like she really has gone to the back burner a little bit. And you see who the strong five is early on in the episode, and I just was like, but Marianne and O are working so closely together, and Marianne has Romeo, and like I just was like, well, oh my god, well maybe the Erica edit this season could be Marianne.
I definitely agree with that. For me, I came out of last night's episode feeling very confident as far as you can be that I think it's going to be either Lindsay or Marianne.
And my one thing of why I question if it is Lindsay with this edit is that I feel like she has identified herself as such a challenge beast. And if they can't get homeboy Jonathan out, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, the next strongest person is Lindsay.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, wow.
I definitely think my prediction of the final three would probably be Jonathan, Romeo, and either Marianne or Lindsay, and whichever of those two makes it to the end is the winner.
Wow.
And I think Omar might go out, like fire making challenge.
And we're comparing 41 to 42. I think that I love O, and I love I love O, and I love he is just running the game. Again, it gives me Shan vibes early on, where like Shan was like such a powerful, and I'm not talking maybe so much of like her gameplay, I'm talking more of the viewer and the it seemed like 41 was the Shan show.
She was carrying it.
She was carrying it, and it really has been carrying the season. And I don't get me wrong, I love it. I stand for the baby boy, but it makes me so nervous because
Yeah.
when we're getting down to these numbers and he is making these like big he's
And-
making these
And he's going deep.
You get one more violation, gentlemen. He's going
No, I know-
long and hard and deep.
Whoa! Hold on.
I don't know.
Whoa. Guys, I
I
don't have
don't
the
know.
energy for this. It was a late
Why?
night.
Sorry, I know. And I think that's maybe why I'm in such a goofy mode.
Oh, man.
But picking up on what you said, I agree, because I really think that in modern Survivor, for better or for worse, a lot of times there's so many aware players that they know at the end of the game you kind of just have to cut the biggest targets no matter how much you like them. And for someone like, he's been crushing it so hard, but we're at the point where we're at the final 6. It's getting down to the nitty gritty, and I think finally, especially after this move where he pulls off at the end of the episode, people are going to start being a little bit more aware to how masterful he's been playing.
Right.
So I definitely...
Like if not to say that he is the puppet master, but or
He
if
is.
has
He is the puppet
a
master.
tranquiliquist or no.
A
Go ahead.
ventriloquist?
I will add it to the dictionary right now. If he has a tranquiliquist. A tranquiliquist? What's a tranquiliquist?
It's a chill ventriloquist.
Like, what were you trying to
They're
say?
like, yo, I'm not even gonna mess with this dummy. Let's just hang out. It's too much.
he's like, me and the dummy just gonna smoke a little bit.
And then he goes to dummy. The dummy's like, this is some good shit.
Brice, what word were you trying to use?
Ventriloquist. Okay. I am saying if Omar is the ventriloquist and the numbers continue to get low, I feel like who's controlling the dummy? Like, you know what I'm like? I just feel like
the dummies are gonna start turning. They're like, yo, you see this?
They're gonna communicate with one another and then gonna turn around and get them.
Right, and realize like, wait, if I'm not talking,
it's gonna be awkward it's gonna be awkward in the voting booth.
Well, so, and that was the beginning of the show.
Yes.
And then we get a commercial, and the first commercial we see is Shan and Liana sharing a beautiful moment that we saw last season, and I thought that was lovely to see them hug each other, and that's the only note I have of this commercial.
Yeah. Jack, let's give a round of applause.
You're welcome.
Round of applause.
I do what I can.
Standing ovation. I forget how the rest of that Rihanna song goes.
Okay, well, we don't need
they're gonna
you.
show Brice in the finale commercial.
Yeah, they're saving him.
They're gonna be on a cliffhanger in the episode. It comes to Brice. It's like sometimes the Survivor episodes could be really suspenseful. ...
First of all, I just want to say if that happened, I would no longer be available to pod on the Survivor News.
Oh. The Sixers just made a good shot, by the way.
Okay.
Hence, the Sixers t-shirt and hat. Right now, we're in Philly. It's game 6. We need to tie the series up, and that's why I have a change of scenery for today.
Yes,
but I'm locked in.
And who is the new player that I like that they say is
he hurt himself. Danny Green.
Danny Green.
He hurt himself within the first minute of play.
Come on, Danny. All right, back to Survivor News.
Back to Survivor. So now it's we're back at camp, and Lindsay, Drea, Marianne, they're hanging out. We get a Jonathan confessional. He's like laying around, and then we get a confessional saying that he burns about 2,000 calories a day. He has it worse than anyone. He's laying around. The others are like walking to the beach. He's like, there's only 6 more days. No one sees how hard it is for me, but that's so okay. Hard. That's my game plan. Let's talk about Jonathan.
Let's talk about, dare I say, excuse me, Jonathan, your privilege is showing. I feel like whether it is Jack burns 7 calories, I burn 36 calories, and Wendell burns 67,000 calories.
Oh,
Baby boy, we are all out here hungry.
So quit.
Gandhi said it best. Suffrage is universal. And I think that this really, like, he did say that.
Suffrage.
Suffrage is universal. Am I saying it wrong?
I think suffrage is like the right to vote.
To vote.
Is that what he's talking? Like,
no. So, no.
I mean, that's also true in Survivor.
Yes. Well, suffrage.
Except if you have lost your vote.
Suffrage is universal. And what he meant by that is I may experience pain in some level. You may go through something, but it's not to say that like what I'm experiencing is more difficult than you're experiencing. It's like we all, what we feel, the pain that we feel, it's universal. It's all like the same. And so there's no way that I could say, you know, I might be wealthy and I might have this and I lost my dog and I'm feeling that pain. You could be, you know what I'm just saying? Like you could be something and you are going through something and you are still feeling pain, loss or something. It's the same. And so I just think that again, for me, just my opinion, just another way of us seeing Jonathan and, you know, him just feeling as though his Survivor level of gameplay is better than others. And you know he feels as though he needs to rest because at rest he needs to like not he burns 2,000 calories, but at the same token then I say like but yet y'all are getting on Romeo who was saying, well listen, if y'all gonna leave this pot of rice out here with these scraps of rice, listen, I'm gonna do what I need to do to eat. And unpopular opinion, I ain't mad at Romeo. But listen, why exert my energy when y'all already look at me on the bottom? Y'all already feel as though I'm disposable. Well, what purpose would it serve me? Why would it be advantageous for me to go out and burn? Like listen, and as quiet as it's kept, I was out on Cagayan for 8 to 11 days, and baby, I was definitely digging in that pot as well.
But at the same time, like you said, you were doing a lot of help, you know, building the shelter and like just being up and active as part of the game, even just with talking to people. But
I often say, well, I would then bring up Morgan from my season, who I love dearly, but did nothing.
Well, she was never gonna win.
I mean, I know, but look where it took her in the game, and look where me trying to be helpful. Like, so I just feel like I ain't mad at Romeo's play. Like, listen.
But it's like when 5th, 7th or so your tribe are having a kumbaya on the beach, and you're just sitting there eating rice. It's like you're missing out on valuable bonding.
But I think what Romeo was saying, or what I got from Romeo, is that he's been othered. Like, you know, he's looked at as like we don't even need to counsel with him when we're sitting for the 5. So whether he's sitting on the thing doing nothing, y'all still are leaving him out. So if y'all gonna leave me out, you bet you. Oh, okay. I ain't mad. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
So we kind of jumped from Jonathan to Romeo, and in this particular segment, there was a lot more than just Jonathan talking about laying around and burning calories laying around. And he was a little there was something between him and Drea.
Him and Lindsay.
But like even when they were trying to like untangle the fish net or something like that, and Drea asked him for some help. And
you're the fisher.
Yeah.
Man.
So he seemed either short, dismissive, or something like that. And then he said something like, he might have been saying it in a confessional or to Omar or something like, I could use a thank you. I want to be a little more appreciated. The way she talks to people is not appreciated. I've held my tongue so much. Yeah.
That's what it sort of boils down to me. Like, in terms of the food thing, I kind of disagree with you, Brice. Like, it is going to impact him more. Like, you could look at Cole Metters, for example, in his season. He passed out because he was like not eating enough calories, and that is going to have a bigger impact on someone of their size than someone who needs. But outside of all that,
But
The weird thing for me is he's like I'm not eating any more rice than anyone else because I want to like fit in with the group and make it seem like I'm not sticking out. But then at the same time, he's like,
I
well, my
deserve
whole
more.
strategy is to be a provider and I need appreciation for that. It's like, haven't you seen, like Ozzy, for example, when you stand out as the provider, eventually people still want to cut you. So how are you going to do both of these things at the same time? Just from a strategy standpoint, it doesn't
Yeah,
really make sense to me.
I've seen Ozzy. But here's what I will say to that. The caveat of you saying, well, he does need more calories because he's bigger. And you knew you was going out to play Survivor. You wanted to bulk up. You wanted to like. Did you not? If you knew that you wanted to go to the end in Survivor, did you not take that in consideration?
Hold on. Hold up. Ladies
The
and
book
gentlemen,
out. Page
do we have-
515.
do we have another word to add to the Brictionary? Did I just hear considerization? Is that what I just heard? Where is
And while Wendell John, I don't disagree. Like, I'm not saying he deserves more rights.
No,
I'm just saying
but you see why. But what I am saying is that, like, I feel
yeah.
like that is that was a game decision of yours to get your body in the best shape. And I'm not y'all know I'm not body shaming. But what I am saying is, but that was a decision that you decided to make to be
and those are the
so
consequences. Yeah.
physically molded and
Okay,
bolded
yep,
and
okay. Yep. And then ultimately folded and fell asleep while everybody else was doing something. So we have
one other point. Sorry to cut you
yeah.
off. I feel like Drea said when she was talking to Lindsay about Jonathan and his behavior, that she felt like he was hangry.
Mm-hmm.
And although that might be true, however, I just feel like this isn't the first time that we've seen this type of behavior when it resides to Jonathan. And I always feel like, just from my eyes as a viewer, and I just bring it to you what I see, it seems like when we get these type of interactions with Jonathan, it always seems to be with women.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see these type of interactions him with the men. And that's just an observation that I had noticed during the episode when he was like kind of somewhat, to Tori and to Drea, Marianne. I'm trying to think of like when I have seen him at opposed to a man.
Definitely.
So, I mean, I don't know if it's hangry or if it's given like
well, we're not going to make any assumptions about Jonathan, but that is quite the observation, Perp. Lindsay says to Drea, his character's really changing. We can't have him win tonight. I want him out. He's not a great ally anymore. He just dictates. And
the connection went out.
No, it didn't.
I'm saying like it got a little fuzzy. I didn't hear the last two lines that you said.
I was just saying. Oh, okay. I was just saying, Lindsay basically said he's changing. We can't have him win tonight. I want him out. He's not a great ally anymore. He just dictates.
Oh.
Are you about to... Did you like that word, Brice?
I can't be an astute listener.
And then we get a commercial. And the first commercial is Probst. And it's just a quick commercial of him recruiting people. So to those of you that listen to the Purple Pants podcast, apply for Survivor. I know that when you come to our events, you see us actively recruiting and telling people, get a tape in, a video, whatever it is, because, now's your time to shine.
Yes.
Jackery, what's up?
Zachary, get that tape
I'm starting
ready.
to lose hope.
No.
But to your point, just apply for Survivor, the Circle, whatever. You never know what can happen. Like you might as well take 20 minutes out of your day to send in a video.
Did you see in the last YouTube thread, there's like a whole thread about how they really feel like you are destined to be on Survivor and that the Purple Pants podcast and Survivor News is really only gearing you up to be a winner when you go out there and play. And I do think it might be the only member of the Jack Shack that wrote that, but I was just like,
the
That's all
one
it
man
takes.
Jack Shack.
That's my burner account.
It was Jack.
not your
I'm gonna,
burner
I'm,
account.
I'm gonna go look at those later.
Yeah, and Brice and I respond a lot to those comments. We're still trying to get Jack up in those comments.
Jack has responded once or twice.
All right,
I've been getting into them.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me in the comments? Well, I'll get in the comments.
I mean,
saying,
I
man.
think the Jack Shack, the Jack box. Do y'all want the baby boy in the comments?
Let
But
'em know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
we got,
Huh?
I'm just saying we're building the empire brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
The shack.
And the next commercial was a Sleep Number 360 smart
Oh.
bed commercial.
Oh,
Oh.
you have a sleep number. Do you know what your sleep number is?
Do I?
Or no,
I
you don't have
know
a
my
sleep number.
I don't know
You
my
have to-
sleep number.
You don't have a sleep number. You have a Stanley Orthopedics. Wendell has the
Stay
type
out
of
my
bed.
bed, perp.
Wendell has the type of bed that, like, again, not being an ageist, but you know, if you want a comfortable bed, but it's the kind that like can move up and can move your feet up.
Yeah.
And like the last time I like happened to walk by when DC's room, his bed looked like an armchair. And I was like, you sleep like that?
It's a 2-in-1, Brice.
Then he shut the mind your business.
I thought you were gonna say it looked like a pita sandwich or something.
But like almost, I was just like, you sleep like that?
Leave me
What?
alone, Brice. Anyway,
Do
it's
you
not
sleep
about
like that? One?
Yes. Thank you, Jack. Wendy's.
something's beeping in here.
It
Yeah,
is.
okay. That's,
No,
your,
it really
that's
is,
your sleep.
though.
That's your sleep number
That's the
53.
sleep number.
It's in recline mode. Beep.
Oh, the fan just cut on for no reason.
Jay saying it's hot. But yeah,
So anyway, we weren't talking about
Okay.
my bed. We were talking about after the
Tori.
commercial. It's day 21.
Tori.
we were talking. So real quick before we go to this, Kristen. No, what's her name? Don't tell me.
From the show?
Yes.
Lindsay?
I just had a brain fart.
Oh
Y'all,
my
excuse me.
goodness.
You good.
When Lindsay and Drea were talking about the Jonathan, I was just like, this is, I know this edit very clearly. Like,
Jonathan.
we got to get rid of them. But can we beat them? No, we got to. And for me, I just feel like anytime in Survivor, when the person that you have identified 10 minutes into the game or the episode that Jack needs to go tonight, he can't win immunity. We're going to do our best.
Yep. He ain't going.
Right.
Yep.
I would
So,
already be out.
day 20. We after the commercial, we have Probst telling us about the dangerous do or die twist that is about to happen. And how how Deshaun narrowly escaped it last season. And now it's time for the 42ers to get that work. Come on in. You get some eerie music. And in this challenge, you have to balance on a perch with a handle, have your arms back, your back back. This is the famous one that our good friend Dr. Christian Hubicki beasted for 5 hours while talking Jeff's ears off of his head against Alec Merlino. And this is the same challenge that I believe they tweaked a little bit so that no one will force Jeff to stand out there for 5 hours ever again.
I was going to ask that because I was like, I remember when Christian Hubicki, who is a current Brice Izyah 2022 Zatty on the Zatty calendar, I remember watching. What I remember the most about him was that he was talking to Jeff, and I felt like he was like, kind of going back and forth, kind of helping himself. But I very astutely noticed that on this episode, they were perched back.
And the stipulation was your back has to be touching.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So like Christian's on this tip.
Right.
And I don't know if they had the little perch for the feet in Christian's one either. Okay, I got it because I was confused. Yeah, there's been so many epic showdowns on there. I think
Let's see who can
Alec
keep this
Christie
closed
won
along.
one in a. Oh,
Okay, Wendell,
show.
because can you wait? My guns aren't gunning this episode, but so no, and
We have a
no.
game later. Don't worry. Oh, all right. Let's do
Wendell's
it.
out.
All right,
So
fine. I'm out.
continue. Okay, Wendell's out.
No, you're good.
So Bryce's arms are not looking like they're holding on to the sticks, the handles. There you go. All right, Jack. Jack is looking firm. Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah, man. I just read that comment about me going on Survivor.
Yeah. And so that's the challenge. We have Jeff announcing what the do or die is. And basically, it means that the first person out has to play a game later at Tribal Council, which can send you packing. And so they do the little stone thing. Some people decide to compete. Some people don't have to. And the only two people that decide to compete are Jonathan and Lindsay.
So I do want to ask you a question, Jack, because I be thinking of questions when I watch that are very jackery.
All right.
The benefit of you doing this is that you can win immunity, right? But if like, what are the thought processes, or what is like, do you think the thought process of somebody that's like, I'm going to sit out? Like, are you thinking, can like, do I have to beat somebody? Like, what, like, am I asking the question right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that
Jack, don't take your back off of the perch.
my back's on my chair. Like,
Okay. All right.
I have it pressed against the chair.
All right.
Bryce looks like he's struggling.
Yeah.
This is a little harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Exactly. One of you guys is gonna lose, and I'm gonna have one of y'all do the do or die.
Wendell, you lost. Actually, we should do that. We should do that though. Someone should do the Monty Hall though at the end of the episode.
I got you.
I got a strategy. All right,
so
I mean, Bryce, I think the benefit to sitting out is that, I mean, obviously if you're the loser, you have what you know, they don't know the game, but you would probably think a pretty good chance of going home if you lose, if you're last place in the challenge. So by sitting out, you just make sure that, you know, you have no chance of having to do the do or die. And for some people, you know, they already see the challenge. They might know that it's not for them. So why risk it?
But do you think a portion of it is like, well, listen, I know I could stay on this perch longer than Jack. So, you know, like I can do it. But then I guess also, do you think like, well, shoot, what if I know I could beat Jack?
I mean, Bryce has been let go of the bar.
You're gonna die today.
I want to do the Monty. I'm throwing it because I want to do the do or die.
All right, Perp, you win.
So I'm safe.
You're safe.
Yeah.
But so some of the
month.
consideration, Bryce, is okay, Perp, you think you can beat Jack at this, but who's to say that Jack thinks that he can beat anyone, and that means he'll like use the purple rock. So if you think, because in Lindsay's case, Lindsay she said, I thought that I could beat certain people, but I didn't think it was just going to be on a one-on-one with her and Jonathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you don't get last, you still have to think that you're going to win. And so if you're going against, if you know that a Jonathan is probably playing, would I want to do this challenge against Jonathan? Like, it's more likely that I'm out first than that I beat Jonathan, in my opinion. Or not even Jonathan, because this challenge could favor people with like a lighter frame. But I'm a big boy, so it's like I'm not, you know, I'm probably not going to win this regardless.
When I saw these two, I thought Lindsay was going to do it. She's a beast. She's very strong. She's mentally strong, physically strong, and she's a lot smaller than Jonathan. So I thought that the toll on her body would be a lot less.
I think what you guys are not taking into consideration is that, you know, at rest, Jonathan loses 2,000 calories a day, and his frame is a lot smaller than what it did when it started off.
Well, he won though. You know,
I mean, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying like maybe that's the reason why he won, because he's, you know, flying over the radar.
Oh no, true. But yeah, like I think it just depends on the person. But I'd much rather like especially if you feel good, the risk of going home from getting last place outweighs the reward of immunity when a lot of people might not even feel like they need immunity. Like if you're a Mike or a Marianne or a Drea, you have access to an idol. So it's like, yeah, I think that's kind of the logic.
Okay.
Do you think Jonathan was correct in playing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't.
He won.
I mean, I know, but I mean, obviously, Jonathan has the awareness that if he did not win, he probably would be going home.
That's an extra factor. But also, I mean, and then if say more people play to try to beat Jonathan, though, I mean, how likely is it that Jonathan's the first one out? Even
Well,
if he doesn't
true.
win?
So
I actually want to throw this out real quick. Now, I'm not saying I support this strategy, but say you're in a really bad position in the game and you feel like you're 100% or 95% chance going to go home at this tribal council. Is there ever a case to play in this challenge and go out first so that you have a chance to guarantee yourself immunity?
is that not what? Okay, so no. So Deshaun didn't do that. Deshaun was really actually out there trying, and then he dropped first. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's like a 50-50 shot. Is it like rolling the dice? But are your odds better at roll? Is this a better?
I think the thing is, if you're out there, you'd have to be so aware of the game to know that you're very, very likely going to go home and like completely wipe off the table of any chance that you're going to be saved, at least with a certain frequency that exceeds the amount of whatever the risk of the do or die is. So it's like, for me, even if I felt like I was on the bottom, I'd probably think I could come up with some sort of shenanigans that give me at least you're taking fate into your own hands if you're at the bottom. So I feel like
I think that it would just be so hard for you to know, because look at Romeo. He's obviously a target, but then Jonathan, then he won, and then it kind of like that ripple effect of it depends on where the votes will go. So I think I hear what you're saying, but for me, like you're right, it would be too hard to predict, and so it would for sure,
especially this season,
right. And I don't like. Would the fans? How do you think they would like take to that? I mean, I'm sure they probably would not like it, but I mean, I don't know, because I feel like it is taking it into your own hands.
I think the fans might like it if it comes from a place of like strategy, like especially say you're in an old school season and it's like 6-1 and you're the one person from the other tribe and you feel like, and everyone's like, yo, you're going to go home if you don't win. And you feel like you can't win, then maybe you just throw it. And like, you're taking a shot, you're doing something. Now, in the modern age of Survivor, I think it's very rare that there's going to be a situation like that where it's so concretely set in stone. But it's something that came to my mind because it's like, especially, I mean, of course they don't know what the do or die game is, but if you know it's the Monty Hall problem, you can guarantee yourself at least 67% chance of winning, a 2/3 chance of staying. And so, if you feel like you're on the bottom, you could just take a guaranteed 2/3 chance at safety. And that's actually pretty appealing if you're aware of the fact that you're probably going to go home, which most people are not.
Right.
So,
all right.
But I got to ask real quick, what do you guys think of the do or die twist in general, though?
I like it.
I think it's another interesting thing that is scary that can shake up the game.
I love it because it's putting the game in the blender. For me, it's very similar to the hourglass. Even though people don't really like the hourglass, I just feel like it is just another constant reminder that although you think you can plan out and cake your numbers, for me, I think that it's just another way for a Survivor to put an end to like the voting blocks that we've seen so many times on the season, where it just gets so predictable. And that this is for me like a what's the word? Like a
listen up.
A shakeup?
Not a shakeup, but like a I don't know. I can't think of the word. But it's like, it's not a caution plan or a when you put something in like a safety plan, a backup plan. I don't know. Like
contingency?
A contingency plan for Survivor, a caution plan.
I gotta say, I don't like this twist. Like, I think the only reason it's been okay is because for some crazy statistical reason, like both Deshaun and Lindsay didn't go home from the do or die twist. Like imagine Lindsay goes home and this tribal just doesn't happen. The episode's going to be like, and that's going to happen 67% of the time. The episode's like, all right, well, that was bad. I mean,
But let me ask you this, Jack. Why don't you like this twist?
because from a gameplay perspective, I don't mind it because I think it's fair. You give the people the information and they can make a decision. It's not being sprung on them out of the blue. But from a viewer standpoint, like I said, 67% of the time, or it depends on if they make the right decision or not. So say it's 50% of the time, Lindsay goes home and that's it. That's the tribal's over. We miss out on what's the best tribal of the season because of a twist that no one has any control over. I'll throw this out there. I just thought about this. Say they do the do or die twist, but instead of this random game of chance, maybe the loser gets 2 votes automatically on them or something like that. So it's like a punishment, but it gives the player the chance to crawl out of that punishment. And it also allows other people to put strategic plans like the one that they did this episode in motion without relying on the fact that, Lindsay may or may not go home. I think the viewers in general don't mind it that much because it's never actually worked. Whereas if it had, like say Deshaun went home last season too, that was a very interesting vote as well. If that vote doesn't happen, it's like, great. Like this whole episode was a waste because they picked the wrong box.
I asked you that question because I feel like it's so interesting because I think your opinion on that, in my opinion, is very telltale of like your game style of like how you will play. I feel like you are a very logical and methodical and go with the numbers type of guy. And I feel like that is just alignment with your game, which I feel like, I don't know, but I just feel like that just makes sense because I feel like but I just feel like it is an interesting fact because I feel like, for me, I feel like I am not, no, I am logical. Maybe my game wouldn't be so
But
methodical.
You like the shake up and the excitement more.
And I feel like there are like our styles of like, and depending on the season and depending on the circumstances, like, not saying that one style is better, but I don't know. For me, it's like, what's the like QHNI2TY personality test? Like I feel like it's just like there is a Jack archetype, and I feel like that's just for me interesting.
But I guess this is different from me because I completely agree with what you're saying. I think this twist is different of how I view some of the other crazy twists they've been doing, where I think it's actually a fair game twist because you can make the decision, but I think it's bad for viewing if it actually works. Whereas like the knowledge is power advantage, I think from a game perspective is not a good twist because it's really overpowered, but for entertainment, it's actually good. And like that's kind of the opposite sort of functionality of the twist. But I will say, I mean, I think this episode was the best one of the season. So based on the fact that it's never worked, I'm really glad it hasn't. And it's brought a lot of excitement to the show. But I think if it had worked, we'd be having a much different conversation right now.
I mean, and so Jonathan wins immunity, and what happens? Who starts breaking off? Who makes these?
Well, we're back at camp. We get a Lindsay sad confessional, but she says she's still not quite out of the game. So there's still hope for her. We get a Drea confessional where she says, "I'm hoping Lindsay goes home tonight." So that
you got to do it right. Wendell is Lindsay. Just be like, I'm going home tonight, Brice.
I'm going home tonight, Brice.
Lindsay, no. You giving up. You acting like you going home. Like, what are you doing?
I want to be here with you, Drea.
Come on, no, keep your head up, Jack.
Drea, do you want me to be here?
Yes, you my sister, girl.
Thank you,
Jack,
sister.
Jack, be the confessional of Drea.
I gotta get my advantages. Hold on. I don't really remember though.
She says she hopes Lindsay goes home tonight.
She hopes Lindsay goes home
because of the amulet. Go ahead. Break it down, Jack.
I'll tell Lindsay I want her to stay here, but man, I hope she goes home because of the amulet, and it gets me one step farther in the game. I don't know.
Jack
Yeah,
didn't
okay.
do it as good as
He
you would
didn't
have
do
done
it
it,
as
I
Bryce.
can't be going hard with the Drea impression. Come on, you gotta
True,
trap the baby boy.
True.
I'll give you a Jonathan if you want.
All right. Thank you, Jack. Good
It was just
know-it-all.
the stark difference of the Dreas to be
Yeah.
like,
Hey,
I'm
it's me,
with you, girl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
But basically,
fall
that's
back.
it, because Drea does not. Drea's like, cool, Linz can go home because my amulet will turn into an idol.
And she
And
still
I have
have
knowledge is power, and I have an extra vote. Keep on,
should
giving
be
me
smooth
things.
for sure. Yeah.
I just kudos to Mikery. That is Mike Turner. I think that, we haven't seen a lot of like gameplay, but I feel like seeing him final five, let's get Romeo out. And like, and then when Omar was in there, and like I was just like, oh my God, like they like Omar just committing. And then when the second that they walked away, I was shocked
Right?
to hear Mike, because Mike's a man of his word. But listen, let me find out the survivor snake got him, because he had me convinced. Like it was I'm sorry, I'm screaming, but it was a pleasant surprise to see that all for one, one for all, boom, 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 and then
You got my word.
you got my word. I'm looking you in the
I
eye, and for then him to walk, and when he says to Omer, like, I'm sorry if I was a little overzealous about that. And I'm thinking like that he's saying, like, I'm sorry if I committed you to a 5 that you may not be committed to. And then when he was like, basically like, I just wanted to make her feel comfortable, I said, now what in the hell? Mike Turner is playing this game.
And there's also a point where he says to Drea, I'm playing my idol tonight because I'm nervous.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, have we been sleeping on the gameplay of Mike Turner?
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Jack.
I mean, Mike, this episode's his gameplay, it was exciting, but I feel like I was awake on Mike's gameplay, and this episode was like a little melatonin, and now I'm falling asleep on his gameplay, because as soon as he does all this, we get a confessional from Omer being like, okay, now Mike is like turning into, he got out high, like he cut the snake off the head, as he said, but now Mike is turning into the snake.
Yeah.
So,
and
he's
he
high
said,
off a high.
Yeah, and he said, what did he say?
But I didn't.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't mind. I liked it too. I was pleasantly surprised, but I guess like in Monday morning quarterbacking is like, well, maybe he's going the wrong direction now, because apparently people aren't liking what he's bringing.
And so is that something, I guess, that is a something that for future Survivor players to watch for, and I guess I'm asking you, Jack and Wendell, is this a thing that the person or the thing in Survivor that you despise the most, you got to get rid of? Is there something to be said that like you might be careful what you wish for, in the sense of like, we want to get high out because he think he running the game, he playing the shots, he being a snake, and then it's like, well, the second that the snake is gone, be careful that you don't fall into the trap of being the snake. Like I was saying with Lindsay, like Lindsay wants Jonathan going so bad because it's like, why? He could beat me in these challenges, but like, do you need to have the foresight to know that, well, baby girl, you and Jonathan seem to be all two people left, and if Jonathan goes, who do you think is going to step up in that shoe? Which again, I bring back to play the Romeo card, sit by the fire and eat the rice.
Okay. We're going to see what that Romeo card gets at the end, because I feel like a lot of people will want to sit with him at the end.
Well, right. But to answer my question though, do you think that is something that,
I think you hit the nail on the head. Oh, whoops. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. Sorry, I bumped my desk. It got a little rocks, Roy. I think you hit the nail on the head, where a lot of times I think if you make a big move, not even in terms of like taking out a snake or whatever, but you make a big move on the biggest player in the game, well, now you're the one who's made the move, and now it's hard. I think one of the hardest things in Survivor is to make those moves and then be able to reel it back in and keep a low target, which Omar has done a great job of so far.
But at the same time, what you just said, what I think is the complicated issue here is you got to make the big move, but you don't want to be seen. But then you need to make it seen enough that when it's time to come down to it, you can say that you did it.
Yeah,
definitely. I think that's like the hardest part about Survivor is balancing that target level so that you position yourself in a place where you're getting out the people you need to, and also sitting in the end with people that you can pitch a better case then.
And last question, and then I'll be quiet. Well, that's a lie. But
thank you, Jesus.
Do you think Erica has started a new trend or a new model of getting to the end? And it's like, maybe, like, honestly, like, try to coast through and final 6, final 5. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, maybe there is in this elevated 26-day Survivor, there is something to be said to, like, the Ghost Riders.
Well, I think
you can't
absolutely.
You can't be a goat rider. Like, there's a difference between a goat rider and a ghost rider.
Yeah. No. I think I'm so on board with this statement because I think it's already been the formula in the sense that, you know, I think like after Tony 1 year season, I think, you know, the strategy ramped up so much that people became so aware of like, who are the big threats? We got to take out the threats. We need shield. Jeremy Collins introduced sort of the shield strategy, and maybe he ushered in sort of that, the epitome of this strategy of laying low and timing things up so that you can go to the end with the people you need to go to the end with. And just off the top, I would say like Michelle did a similar thing. I think Adam kind of wrote the book on this where he was an alliance of 5 and he was the 3rd best player in that alliance. And so when they reach the final 5, they take out the 2 big ones. He might not have played the cleanest game, but he's left with 2 people he can beat. And that's just the by the books way to do it. And then you look at like I would say 34 through Wendell's season were a little bit kind of a different case. Like, you know, 34, Sarah really dominated. Wendell and Dom dominated with that duo. And then Ben sort of just had this like unseen sort of run. And then not to break it down too much, but then like 37, I think Nick Wilson sort of did the same thing where he was kind of middle of the pack. And then right when they hit like final 6, he wins a few immunities. He starts using those immunities to establish some strategic agency. And then he had a couple moves that he did throughout the game, like the Dan blindside, or I'm sorry, the John, the wrestler John blindside that he could pull out at the end and give to his people, which I think was sort of very Adam-esque. And then, yeah, I just think that, like you said, I think it's maybe it's even more visible now because it's that new era and everyone is such a smart player for the most part that really is the strategy. It's so hard these days to be like a Tony where you're going off and then you are able to maneuver your way through the entire merge with a huge target on your back.
Right. So, yeah. So would you say it's a ghost rider?
Ghost ride the whip.
Oh, not
I'm ghost ride the
E40.
whip.
Ghost ride the whip.
You gotta
ride the whip.
You gotta have the glasses when you do the
Ooh, tell me when to go. 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 Dumb.
Never in a million years would I think that there will be an E40 reference on the Purple
Come on
Pants
now,
podcast.
you know it's West Coast One. All right. So there was a point when Omar went to pray, starts praying, gets up and walks away with Mike. And Dre is like,
didn't you just start praying? So it's like, I'm done. I gotta go. But good observation on Drea, where I feel like this was when she was just like, when something seems off in Survivor, it seems off. And I can attest to that for the one tribal council that I went to. Ish was off. And you just know it, but you don't know to what degree or to what things are happening. But of course, in the edit, they just show like Mike and going off, Lindsay and Jonathan. And I'm sure they probably could have been at different related times, but for editing purposes, I just thought it was a really interesting point for her to bring out. Also, I just was like, oh, maybe that's how Chanel felt. Drea. Just saying, you know, like
Okay. So we also have a conversation between Omer and Drea when Drea says that she's gonna take Mike's idol.
And this puts the wheels in motion for the
this.
rest of the episode for sure.
Would you guys dare to say that if you get the knowledge is power, I think the knowledge is power. Don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
Yeah.
It's not called sharing is caring advantage.
Right. Right. It's like the one person you told sunk your whole game.
And it goes to show you in this game of Survivor that I think the viewers do not understand is that at times when you are holding all of these bags of tricks, it really, you know, sometimes the human nature of you just wanting to like spill the tea or for you wanting to like, you know, and it really goes to show you that one moment of like that human interaction of like, you know, like you in your head, like, this is me in my head, like, oh, Brice, we got this knowledge is power. Oh, we about to kill it. We about to kill it. We gonna kill it. We gonna kill it. And then I'm just like sitting there like, I can't keep this to myself, like y'all, you know what I mean? And so, but again, I just you need to just let it be in your head because again, knowledge is power, and you can use it. And again, I do think that it also shows the level of gameplay that Omer is running. The fact that people feel comfortable enough. And again, as a viewer, I'm just like, are y'all not seeing this? Do you not see the baby boy? Oh, like it. Yeah. For me, it's just I just was like, whoa.
Yeah, and we get a moment where Omer is talking to Lindsay about the different options for tonight, and like how if he gets the idol for Mike, then Drea can't get it. So they're like thinking of ways around this situation. Then we get an Omer confessional basically saying, hey, I'm going to have Mike's idol. And then basically that there are so many options. It's like, I can have Mike's idol. I could keep it. We could get Mike out. Or I can have his idol. Drea can ask him if he has it. Drea can go home. Or Lindsay can just get killed by the do or die. So like,
yeah,
there's so much that can happen tonight. And I think at one point, like shortly before Tribal, Omer reveals it to Mike. Mike hands him the idol.
Did they show him? I think it was a flashback, right, where they showed. Mike.
Oh, was that the flashback? All right,
yeah.
Because I don't think in the moment that we knew.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
But since we did bring this up, I think that I think that move, because I'm just going off of like the Mike Turner that we see. I think that move of orchestrating that, I could see it being his downfall in the sense that I think that it would reveal to Mike how in the know really is.
Call him in the
O.
and that's something I was thinking about during the episode too, was like, you know, if Omar takes his idol and they keep Mike, and they were deliberating this too on the beach, do they give it back? Do they keep it? And I think we get a confessional of Mike saying like, you know, don't even give it back to me. Like, as long as I'm safe, it's fine. But when push comes to shove, you get it back. I feel like it's sort of that Shannon Ricard last season where it's like, so you gonna give me that back, or you go hold on to that?
What's up?
And then it's like, you know, Omar. I think Omar could keep it and get himself to that final four just about. But it's like, you know, what bridges are you burning? Obviously, like you said, Brice, he's showing a lot of his cards, showing how in the O he is, and so I think it's a great move. Within the episode was an amazing move. It could be the move that, like you said, wins it or loses it for Omar. But it's getting late in the game enough though that I don't mind this big move.
Yeah, no, it's perfect time. But it's like when you are in the O now, every every move matters. Not that it didn't matter before,
Mhm.
but every move matters in the O. And it is going to be a delicate dance. It's a delicate dance for O because at this point, I don't know how much more you can be discreet about all of your relationships.
Exactly. People are going to start comparing notes, especially when the numbers are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and or you know, right? Because now everybody like you can't just go to everybody now because everybody
Mhm.
going to everybody. So
Yeah.
it will be interesting to see how O navigates through the O.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you think he should keep the idol or give it back?
I, I think he should give it back only because it's Mike's idol and everybody that Mike seemed to know likey.
Yeah.
So there are a couple schools of thought, I guess. If you keep it, then Mike is gonna cause chaos and say, "Yo, you're shady, and you kept my idol." And now I think there will be a big target on O.
But isn't tomorrow? I mean, not tomorrow, but next episode isn't that Final Five? And isn't it the last time that all the idols come to
Final
you?
six.
Oh,
Final
Final
six.
Six.
I will say, here's something to chew on. What if
Oh,
literally, what if Omar had Mike give Lindsay the idol because Omar knows after Drea goes home, Lindsay's going to have an idol anyways. It's a little risky because you're guaranteeing Lindsay Final Four, but now Mike is going to have this feud with Lindsay about getting this idol back or whatever. And there's no sweat on Omar's back because he could go to Mike and be like, I'm telling her to give it back to you. And he could go to Lindsay and be like, nah, just keep it. Like we're good. And then there's no beef and he doesn't look disloyal to anybody, really. Obviously, you lose the idol, but especially with Mike being such a loyalty guy and a pretty outspoken guy, like if Mike does end up on the jury and Omar keeps his idol, that could put a sour taste in Mike's mouth about Omar's loyalty to him or backstabbing or whatever. So I think that could have been an option, but I like how they both played it. I thought it was a really awesome move for sure.
And I just definitely think with all of the ammunitions and amulets that Drea had, what is the probability? Do you feel like the probability of her executing and using all of that correctly was higher than her getting blindsided, or was when you have all of that ammunition, is it more likely that you will get blindsided than actually execute your arsenal?
well, how often do people have all that ammunition?
I mean, I feel like we've seen at least, maybe not all, but we've seen some fully loaded players once or twice before.
Dean Kowalski.
Right. Didn't Stephen Fishback have a guns a-blazing?
He had a vote steal and
But given the time that we saw the vote steal, it was very big.
Hey.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, in 1999, when you had an air conditioner in your car, like you was like, oh, but now it's like, it's 2022.
Yeah.
The Teslas driving themselves with air in the car. So it's like, the steal of vote that Steven had back in the day was,
sure.
The iPod.
It was a brand, yeah. So can you what?
My question is,
Sorry, I'm
good?
just. It's been a long day.
Yeah, and the Sixers are on.
And the Sixers are getting smacked.
So my
We're
question
down
is,
13 right now.
the likelihood when you have a new powerful tool, whether you have an arsenal or the hot new tool,
as in like Drea's spot or
Drea's spot,
Okay.
Dean Kowalski, Stephen Fishback, is it more likely that you will use it correctly, or is it more likely that it will use you correctly?
It's definitely a blessing and a curse, like it's one of those things. And that this ties back into kind of what I liked about some of the advantages from 41 and 42, or like the idea of the beware advantage, where it's got its downside. So for some players that aren't able to maneuver the beware advantage, it's going to hurt their game. But for the best players that, you know, could go on to be the winner or whatever, they're going to be able to utilize that beware advantage and really show their strategic chops with it and how to use it, how to employ it correctly in a way that's going to, it really creates a separation between, you know, the best players and the worst players. Whereas like anyone could just kind of stumble on an idol. And if they feel, obviously it's not easy to use an idol correctly, whatever, but it's like you're in danger, play the idol. But it's like when you have a knowledge is power, you know, who do I tell? Who do I not tell? When do I play? Whose stuff do I take? Like all that's a much more complex sort of thing to do. So yeah, I think it creates the rich get richer and the poor get poorer in the Survivor universe.
Would you say that more likely than not, it doesn't pan out that way? It pans out that like having this ultimately become a disadvantage from like the three people that we've named.
No, I don't think it's a disadvantage. I just think it's sort of a situation where it's like they were probably going to go home anyways. And it just in the moment that they go home, and it just so happens that they weren't able, like, it's not a, just because they don't use it effectively doesn't make it a disadvantage. Although sometimes, like you said, it can be a disadvantage. Like when Steven Fishback got so into using the steal vote on Joe that he kind of just blew up his own game.
Right. So I guess my question is are you more likely to use it correctly, or are you more like you're more likely to go home? Because we've seen that you're more likely to go home, and that's, I guess that was really what I was saying. But I think that your response triggered me to kind of pivot a little bit. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I interpret it as like, is it more of an advantage or disadvantage? I would say it's an advantage, but I think most of the time a lot of these players are going to go home with their, and that's not necessarily because of that goodie bag, but it is. I mean, we saw
Dan Rengering.
Yeah, we saw Dean with it, and I mean, he made it to the end and got second. Like it almost kind of turned his game around. But and to that point, we also saw sometimes having that goodie bag can be a detriment to your game, even if you make it to the end, because people might think, you know, you had 3 idols. Like, why should I vote for you? You didn't have to socialize.
So, okay, this is why I love asking you these type of questions, Jack, because then another question just popped into my head. Being as though we statistically can say that normally when you get the car with the air conditioner or you get the prime item, it normally does not serve, it works out to not serve you well. Would we say that maybe if you get it, use it to your advantage in the sense of bartering favor with a Romeo, giving it to a Romeo, or giving it away?
That it's definitely an it's hard to, it's everything's so circumstantial, but
I know.
But there's definitely, I think there's definitely a world where, especially I think if people know about your idol, you know, maybe you go to the challenge, you say, especially maybe if you're in the tribal phase, you say, you know, hey, Wendell's tribe, look what I found. Are any of you in danger? Who wants it? I'm just going to give it to you. And then you give it to the person on the bottom of the other tribe, and it just creates a lot of chaos, and it takes the target off your back.
Wow.
Or you sneak in, you give it to Wendell, like bartering trust with you, and then you go back to the thing and be like, he told me he's got a knowledge is power.
Yeah, I guess it would definitely be crazy to like give it away to build trust and then paint a target on someone else's back.
But I'm just saying, the name of the game is funny the next day.
It would be funny if like I had an idol or something and say I wanted Wendell out. I go put it in Wendell's backpack and I'm like, yo, guys, look, Wendell's got an idol. And then I take it out and put it back where I had it. And everyone's like, okay, Wendell's got an idol. We got to get him out.
Wow. That's lit.
I would never do that though.
Ultimately, if I'm Drea and I go home, I would think that I would just like, you know, and like we saw her and Mike hugging, I would think that like, y'all got me good. I would think that, like, you know what? I ain't mad. Like, I made threats. I had these amuletes, and
and to be the victim of what's probably the best tribal of the season, at least so far, it's always a blaze of glory to go down like that. Like it's something people are going to remember, you know.
But one thing we forgot was that one of you guys lost the do or die challenge.
It's you and Jack have to do the Montel Jordan.
Yes.
So the Montel Jordan.
Jack, I have here a table.
Oh, you got a setup.
Which is really just a pillow. I have a whole setup. Okay. Now, I have 3 boxes, which are really just thank you bags. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
in 2 of these boxes,
Anybody that's watching on the YouTube, notice how perky and how serious Jack just got.
see,
So I didn't
Jack
even
got
see
a
I was so
challenge.
locked in on Wendell.
Jack. So you have 2 of these that will snuff your fire tonight.
Yup.
And you have 1 of these that will keep that fire lit tonight.
Mm.
Okay. Now,
Bryce just leave.
Brice is out of here. This is you and
Okay.
I, Jack.
Okay.
Now, you see the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to need for you to first pick one.
Okay. Should we spice it up and put a little wager on this?
We should.
Whoever, if I win, you Venmo me $20. If I lose, I'll Venmo you $20.
Sounds good.
Okay. Just
Hold
a little.
on. I think because I am the winner.
He jumps right in. Why did he jump in? This was so intense. Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Brice.
Hi. I feel like because though I won, I feel like if Jack wins, Wendell got to cash app us.
We
Jack
were just
$10,
talking about that.
me
we were-
$10.
you
No,
just
I didn't
said-
leave. I was listening. I just
Oh.
I exited so that the screen could be more dramatic. What
Gotcha,
I am
gotcha.
saying, I popped back in because y'all said $20. So
Well,
if Jack wins,
you should have thrown the challenge.
So, okay,
When-
so let's
okay.
spice it up a little bit. If Jack wins, then
Wendell has to cash app us $20. If
okay.
Jack loses, Jack cashes us $100.
If Jack loses, Jack has to cash app us each $10.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
And
so
then
I could either make 20 or lose. Okay, but I like that because it's like a 1 in. Okay,
And
All
I
right.
can either lose 40 or make 10.
Okay. All right.
Sounds like a great deal for you.
Okay.
It sounds like a great deal for me. Hold on, wait. Now let me disappear.
Goodbye, Brice. So, Jack.
Okay,
So, here's what we're doing now.
I got my choice ready.
Hold on. Hold on. Gotta make sure they're set. I don't want these boxes falling anywhere. So, which one would you like to choose?
I'd like to pick the middle one.
You'd like to pick the middle one.
Yep.
So, what I do now is I take the middle one right here. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, we're down to these 2. Okay.
Yep.
Now, so we're down to these 2. I don't know which is which. Yes, I do. Okay. So now I'm going to take one away.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take this one away.
Are you gonna reveal it?
Okay. Jack, I was going to get there. Don't get ahead of Probst right now, Jack.
Sorry.
Okay. We're going to reveal this one. And it says, die.
Let's go. But that's not mine, Bryce. So we're good.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
Yeah.
not his.
That was the one he removed.
Okay. So now, Jack, we're going back to these 2. Okay. These 2.
Mm-hmm.
Your original choice was the middle one right here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to swap? Do you want to stay?
I would like to swap, Wendell.
You would like to swap.
The first person to do it.
You're the first person in the history of the Purple Pants podcast to swap boxes. Are you ready for this? Hey.
Mm.
All right, Jackery. Instead of going with this one,
Mm-hmm.
you're swapping.
Yes, sir. I never wanted the middle one anyways. I was always going to swap.
All right. Let's reveal your choice for $20. Put them glasses on.
They're
Perp,
stuck in my neck. They're stuck
wear
in my
your glasses.
thing.
Perp, you need to enter the room again. Y'all know my Venmo? Oh, all right. For $20 for each of you or for $10
I can't really see
for
through
each
these
of us?
glasses.
Let's see.
Wait,
what
so
we
wait,
have.
hold on, wait. Just because my excitement is roaring. If it says die, we won, or if it says do, we
Wait,
won.
how did Brice finesse a situation where he wins both ways?
We.
Because I won.
If
I
it
won the
says
immunity.
if it says die, you're dead.
Okay. Because I won the immunity challenge, Jackery.
Okay, so
If
okay,
it's
I feel pretty confident that I'm not paying nobody. So
Okay.
if it's a fire, you win. Your fire has not been snuffed. If it's the die, you gonna die.
and then do
And
I
we're-
cast the soul vote at tribal then?
And you cast
If
the
I'm
soul
saying.
vote at tribal then.
Okay.
Enough with the anticipation.
Are we ready to reveal?
Let's go.
Let's go!
Let's go, Jackery.
Monty!
Let's
Y'all
go.
done did it. Y'all
Let's,
done
I
did
got
it.
Jack twerking. Yes, Jack.
Jack
That
is
wasn't even. That was
twerking.
me getting low.
And for the integrity of the game, because Probst did it, we're gonna reveal this third one as well.
why is your body moving so slow with it, Wendell? Die.
Die.
Let's go, Jackery.
Would you like to hear
Wow.
my strategy for the do or die?
Let's hear it.
The fact I can hear Jack's heart beating.
Brings me back to my game theory course. So do you guys know? You know how on the Monty Hall problem you're always supposed to switch, right?
Yes.
Yeah. My thinking is that like human, if for the person putting the flame into the boxes. Now
You
I thought
think
this
he'll
last night
never
and it was
put it
wrong.
in the middle. That's
I
what
think
you're
they
gonna
put
say.
it in the middle the least often because people always pick from the sides.
Mm.
So if you pick one of the side ones, or if you pick the middle, they have to show one of the side ones. And then now if you think that they almost always put it on one of the sides, then you get the other side for free. And then
Yeah, Jack is a smart young man. We're gonna do
But
this again.
if I was ever on the island with any of y'all watching, like I would never even be thinking about any of this.
But so we are
Wow.
clear, Jackery. Wendell is cash apping us $20, right?
Yes, sir.
Whatever.
Thank you. All right.
Y'all
But
got
listen, but so before that was that was exciting. Drea went home. Huge loss, but a huge loss, but a
Lindsay
big
got through her challenge.
Lindsay got through. Lindsay and Jack both got through. And big loss to see Drea go home. But at the end of the day, when you are a beast at times, you got to go out like a beast. And I think that, there's no other, like, we're playing the game of Survivor. And I think that everyone respects what happened. Sometimes you got to go. You got to go. And when you have all of that ammunition, no, sorry. My cash app went cha-ching. I didn't think I was really getting I didn't think I was really getting the $20.
I'm trying to find Jack's Venmo.
J Atkins 21. Listeners, feel free to contribute as well.
Okay, yes. But yeah, I wasn't mad at the move, and I definitely like the exchange between Drea and Mike at the end. I thought it was just, game, respect, game.
Yeah. At the end, Mike's like, as Drea's getting up, did you put 2 votes on me? I put 2 votes on you. And then they start laughing and hugging. It was actually a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And my takeaway from that was in that last 3 minutes of her leaving, her saying something to everyone, her giving mad hugs to everyone, her saying why she would. She put targets on some people. She snitched on Omar. She did all this stuff going out. She even was joking around with Probst. I thought we saw a lot more Drea personality in that 3 minutes.
Interesting.
Than we saw the whole season, which could tell you a couple things. It could be either she was that locked in, or we didn't get that edit from her. So,
I mean, yeah, because I think of, like, I follow the Dre's on Instagram. She's a beast. I want to say that she was that locked in. Honestly, I think that I'm sure on the island they probably got glimpses of that, but I think it led more to this edit because she was locked in.
and then it was
In my-
like, I'm out, so I can have a
it's just
sigh
like,
of
all right,
relief.
I could just like,
Yeah.
all right, love y'all. It was great. But
I could take
I-
off my hard exterior and just
also, I mean, dare I say, is that a sign of a great player though? I mean,
yes.
Definitely.
And well, I'm sorry to jump in. This whole episode, people are saying if Drea gets the end, she wins. And I wouldn't even have like in watching it, I'm like, nah, there are so many people that can win right now. But for them all to in unison basically say if she gets to the end, she wins. They recognize how locked in she was.
Yeah, definitely.
I say maybe we didn't get to see it, but this is what I would say that as a viewer, what is the telltale sign is tell me a time that we saw Drea at the bottom. Tell me a time that we saw Drea like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you thinking
Even scrambling.
scrambling,
Yeah,
when you think in that lens, it's
Wow.
like
She was dialed in the whole time. Yeah.
Wow.
so again, the one thing that I love about this pod with y'all, my brothers, is that I think not only like the listeners, but for myself, I am just tuning my listening and watching eyes to Survivor. Like the next season, like there are just so many things that through these conversations that like that are unplanned and that we just talk out and that like honestly like how Jack and I normally talk about strategy and like there's just so many things that that I tune into and just even saying that, listening and thinking of like, you know what? Well, tell me a time that we've seen Drea struggle. The next season of Survivor that I watch, I had learned so much that like I just take it to my Survivor listening self. And so that's just one of the reasons that I love this podcast with you guys is because like, I really do love Survivor. I don't really get to talk in this forum a lot in this way, but I appreciate it because I honestly, as a listener and a viewer of the show, I learn so much. I become a better observer. Damn it.
That was you. That was good. You kind of called yourself out there. That was going to slide.
Paranoid because of you. Because somebody in the comments said we should actually make the Brictionary an actual book, and I don't want to add any more to it.
That's the last page of the 2023
Yes.
Zaddy calendar. Yeah.
But I honestly I want to become a better observer of the game because you guys are so articulate and great watchers of the game. Like it just makes me want to be a better watcher of the game so I can come back here and be like, "Ugh! In your face, Jack Atkins."
And on that note,
Whoever's in the comments saying it's getting me ready, we're getting Brice ready for some second chances.
oh. And also to our comment people, we got a lot of
comment community.
That's right. The Purple Pants posse. To y'all, we have a debate, Houston, Dallas, and it's going down. I've seen, now Karishma's involved, we got a lot going on. So, but I still like my Dallas family. Y'all are really putting forth a good case, but Houston really came correct within the last couple of weeks. So I'm just saying next season, we need to come to Texas. It's one of the two.
Let us know. Also, we read the comments. The ma'ams, you were not annoying us coming up to us. You were actually one of the highlights of our night. So don't say that.
Also, Josh Green.
Josh to the green.
Respect. You took over the Instagram after our boy Sollywood did it last week. After our boy Keenan did it a couple weeks ago. Josh Green, you came through and you held it down for Brice.
You held it down. Now, we also want to know, we are headed to LA. If there is a posse member that thinks that they could do it better or they think they could rise to the occasion
to do our Instagram live takeover,
let us know in the YouTube comments or DM us and get at us. And we'll let you know. But honestly, guys, it's been a great episode. Love talking to my brothers, the Jack Atkins, the Wendeezy Holland. We will be back. This has been your Survivor News. It's the purple pants. 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 It's the purple pants.